This is Disney Travel Tales, a trip report show helping you to become an expert at navigating your next Disney vacation. Join me every Friday for all things Disney related. Not traveling to Disney anytime soon? Never fear, we are still the show for you. Sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in someone else's trip. All the joy, none of the stress. All right, if you're ready, let's get to today's show. Hello and welcome to today's show. This is episode 108 and I am here with my guest Gina, and she is going to share all about her mother-daughter trip her and her daughter took back in October. Gina, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. So let's just start off the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with Disney vacations?
Well, my name is Gina. I live in Missouri, Southwest Missouri, just outside of Springfield. And I actually was born and raised in California. So I grew up with Disneyland in my backyard, and it was kind of my babysitter because in the 80s, the parents would give you like $20, drop you off for the day, and they'd go to work. So most of my days were spent at Disney. Actually, and admittedly, this is pretty sad, but I grew up as a Disneyland purist. So Disney World, I was just like, no, I don't need to go. I have Disneyland. It's the original. And then I obviously got older, got married, had kids, and my husband had only ever been to Disney World. And he was like, well, I want to take the kids to Disney World. So he is not a Disney guy at all. So we went, and I had been one time before over spring break when I was in college, and I wasn't really that impressed because I was comparing it to my love of Disneyland. And we took the kids, and I was like, yeah, that's fun, but I still prefer Disneyland. And then about 2 years ago, I booked a big girls trip with my mom and sister-in-law and my niece and my daughter. And literally everything changed after that. Then I was just like, Disneyland too? And I just love Disney World. I still love Disneyland. It's forever going to be like my home, but Disney World has just captured my heart. And so now in the last, I guess it's been a year and a half, I've gone twice. I just booked my next trip with you. And I love it so much. So Disneyland is just kind of in my blood. My mom grew up going to Disneyland, and she was huge into it and kind of raised us kids to learn to love it as well. So that's my history with Disney.
I love that. What a great story. You know what? One thing I do love about Disneyland and Disney World is they are so different. You really can love them both in different ways.
Yes, I love the history of Disneyland. I'm such a history buff when it comes to Disney or, really anything. But, and so Disneyland brings me all of just even my past, right? From childhood and just things that I remember and everything else. But Disney World has just opened up a whole new love of Disney. So it's so fun.
That's a great story. I love it. How fun. So let's talk about this trip. Who did you travel with, and what were your travel dates?
Okay, so I traveled with my daughter, Lauryn. She's getting ready to turn 24, so she was 23 on this trip. And so it was just the two of us. We were actually going to celebrate her getting her cancer-free card. So she's now cancer-free. We've been battling that for about a year and a half, and so we were celebrating that, and we went October 22nd through the 28th.
That's so great. I mean, what a fun way to celebrate.
Yes, it was. It was a lot of fun. And she was more than happy to have mom pay for a trip to go celebrate. So.
Absolutely. You're never too old for your parents to pay for your vacations.
That's what she keeps telling us.
I know. I tease my kids. I'm like, one day y'all can pay for me to go on vacation with you. And they're like, what? We're going to do that?
Exactly. Oh, I know. She's all ready. My husband and I are planning a trip to Europe within the next year or two. And she was like, so when we go,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, there's no we here. You were staying home.
That's so funny. So where did y'all stay on this trip?
We stayed at Pop Century, and we stayed there before. We stayed in other resorts like what do they call it? The Friends of Disney resorts?
The Good Neighbor hotels?
Yes, yes. And we've stayed there before, but this time I really wanted to stay on property. And we had stayed at Pop before and loved it. And so we kind of have this little just connection with Pop. It's just fun, and it's on the Skyliner, which was the big seller for us, So we did stay at Pop. We were in the 90s building.
Yeah, Pop is such a great resort. I love that resort. And it's funny, people who love Pop. Like, they want to stay there. It's kind of like when they go back to Disney, it's like going home. And so they like the comfort of it. Yeah.
Well, and we're the type, we don't have small kids. Our son is married. He's in the Air Force, and our daughter's, like I said, 23, getting ready to turn 24. So for us, when they were younger, we would stay somewhere that, we worried about the pool, or we worried about the different amenities, things like that. And Papa still has those things. Mm-hmm. But as adults, Lauryn and I, when we go on vacation, we are on the go. We are there to sleep. And if we are just there, we might grab a snack, go see the gift shop, but we're not lounging around the pool. We're not anything like that. So Pop is great for sleep. The rooms are clean. They're cute. It's more than enough room for just her and I. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the Skyliner, it's perfect.
Yeah, it can't be beat.
No, although I am looking forward to our next trip. So
yeah.
But
absolutely. Okay, so let's just start on your first day, your travel day. How did y'all get to Orlando?
So we flew out of the Springfield airport. Our flight was, I want to say it was like 5:30 in the morning. It was pretty early. We did have a layover in Atlanta, which turned out to be a semi-hard thing to navigate. Atlanta's going through a lot of construction right now. And so we sat on the tarmac for like 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Missed our flight, our connecting flight. We were lucky we were on the wait list of the next flight out, which was like 45 minutes from when we were able to get to the gate to see if we could get on the next flight. Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, we've got 5 people in front of you guys. So, cross your fingers and hope you get on. And I didn't think we were going to, but we were lucky enough to get on that flight. Yay. And so we only arrived like an hour later.
That's not bad.
So we arrived at 1. No, I was so happy because we had reservations for dinner, and, all of that could be easily unraveled if you miss a flight. Mm-hmm. So we were very, very grateful that we were only an hour behind. So we got in at about 1 p.m., which was perfect. And we had used, I think it's Southern Elegance to travel before. And this time, and of course we had a larger group when we had gone before. So this time with just her and I didn't want to shell out that much money because it was, it was kind of pricey, and I definitely prioritize my spending. So I would rather buy souvenirs or eat at a really good restaurant than pay for, just a nice car to take me somewhere. So we Ubered. It was great. It was easy. We landed and we didn't have any checked bags. So as soon as we landed, I booked us an Uber, and it was literally, I think, maybe a 5-minute wait.
That's outside. Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And so we got there at 1. That morning, while we were sitting in the Atlanta airport, I went ahead and ordered groceries, had those set up to deliver at 12:30. And so, we got there, checked in, and then our groceries were already there. So we just took our bags and groceries and went up to the room. And I like to unpack. I don't like living out of a suitcase. So we unpacked, got everything situated, because then we were free to go to Disney Springs, and I didn't have to worry about coming back early to unpack and situate. It was already done. We were home. That was our home, and we were good to go. So we unpacked, got settled in the room, got everything in the beverage cooler that we needed, and then we set out, changed our clothes, and set out to Disney Springs just to kind of walk around. I wanted to go to Gideon's. I've never been. Mm-hmm. And so we found Gideon's, and I walk up to the door because, like I said, I had never been to Gideon's. Did not even realize the line was like a mile long. Yes. And I was like, so how do we go in? She was like, well, it's about a 4-hour wait. And Lauryn and I just looked at each other like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So we did put ourselves on the list just in case because we had a boathouse reservation at 5:30. We were like, well, maybe it'll be shorter than that or whatever. So we just window shopped. We kind of like to scout out the place, see what's available, because we were going back to Disney Springs later. So I didn't want to buy anything first without seeing everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And just had a good time. And then we got into the Boathouse, which is one of our favorite restaurants. We've eaten there a lot. We usually try to eat there multiple times during our trips because it's so good and it's just consistently great. The service, the food, everything. This time we only went once, but we ordered the oyster Rockefellers, which is amazing. And then Lauryn and I on this trip, you'll see, we'll get one or two appetizers and then we split a main dish and then get a dessert because we're foodies. We love really good food, but we also, our eyes are bigger than our stomachs.
Yeah.
So if we split, it helps. So we got oysters and then we got the mahi tacos. Oh, yeah. And that was something that Lauryn had tried our previous trip and loved them. And they were really, really good. And so we decided to go with that. And then I got a lemon drop martini and she got a Moscato. So we just sat there and then we were leaving Boathouse and it was not late. It was probably around 8-ish. Mm-hmm. And just as we were getting ready, like we were coming up to the bus, we got called for Gideon's.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, no, we've been up since 3 a.m. Like we have a big day tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We're going to bed. We'll catch it later. So we did let our reservation for Gideon's go, but that's okay. We got it later on. But yeah, we were back to the room around 9, and then we just kind of hung out and went to bed.
That sounds like a great first day, especially when y'all had like travel problems. That can ruin your whole day, but y'all really redeemed it.
We did. We like to pack a lot into a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, we tried. I mean, we were zonked when we got back to the room. So yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah, I can totally relate. I'm the same way. I just want to go, and I figure I'll sleep when I get home.
Yes, that is our mentality. That is what we do.
Yeah. All right, so what'd y'all do on y'all's first park day?
So we did Magic Kingdom, and we had reservations for, is it Sweets and Seats or Seats and Sweets? I've heard them both ways.
I think it's Seats and Sweets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we had that. And so the whole day I'm anticipating all I wanted was to watch Tinkerbell, fly. That was like that was the highlight of my day. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, we got there and I did, just for reference, I got Genie Plus every day we were in the parks. And I'm one that when I go, because I don't live local, I don't get to go all the time. For me, Genie Plus and paying for the lightning lanes, it's built into my budget.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to miss anything. So we did have Genie Plus. We did do a little bit of Disney, the bounding, and we don't go all out, but we try to do comfortable, but we still have, you can kind of tell who we are, especially if we're
I love that.
Or whatever. So I did Haunted Mansion because it's one of my favorite rides. And Lauryn did Sleeping Beauty, which that's her favorite princess. So
that's awesome.
She did that one. But when we got in, we don't rope drop. Like, we're not there at the very first because I've seen the lines for that, and I don't want to deal with that. But we do kind of go right in between rope drop and when it opens to the general public. So there's kind of a sweet spot there. And I don't know if it's just kind of unknown or if we just lucked out and it's not normally that way. But every time we've gone, we just kind of get right in the middle of that. It's so easy to get in. And so the first thing we did And I think I had gotten a lightning lane or a virtual queue for, I think it was Seven Dwarfs. But that wasn't until a little bit later. And so we walked to the Haunted Mansion, and the wait was like 15 minutes. And so we did that one first. And then one thing that I never thought we would do or be into was pin collecting.
Uh-huh.
It was something that I've seen a lot of people do, but I was just like, oh, that's cool, whatever. And it never dawned on me to even look at the pins or, it just wasn't of interest to me at the time. Well, we went into the gift shop after Haunted Mansion. So it was, I don't know what that's called, the Haunted Mansion gift shop.
Oh, it's like on the tip of my tongue. But yes, I know what shop you're talking about. I just cannot think of the name of it.
Well, they had all of the heads of the Haunted Mansion, like the pins. And I was like, okay, these, and I was wearing my little Haunted Mansion shirt. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to buy these. I don't need any others. Like, I'm just going to buy these.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that ended up being a repeated thing in my head the entire trip. And we ended up with so many pins. Because they're just too cute. And
pins
so
are so fun. I love them.
Oh my goodness. They're adorable. And so my daughter got into it, I got into it, and we came home. It was an obscene amount of pins. But anyways, we had gone into that shop, and it was so cute. They had the cutest stuff in there. And then we worked our way to Pirates. And I think you'll kind of see, we really do kind of like go back and forth through the parks.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been one to like just do that section and then leave that section and go to another section. I just kind of like to meander because really, especially with adults, anything that we want to ride, we can pretty much guarantee we're going to ride it. The only two rides we didn't get, which my daughter was totally okay with, was Peter Pan. I love that one just because I grew up with that one, and Winnie the Pooh. And we actually had a reserved time for Winnie the Pooh, but right when we got to the front, it broke down.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get to go back on that one. But it didn't break my heart. It was like one of those things of, okay, we'll catch it next time. But so yeah, we did Pirates, which is one of my favorites, although the Disneyland Pirates is better than the Disney World Pirates.
Is, for sure.
But I still love it. I love it so much. It's, like I said, it's just part of my childhood. So I just get so giddy whenever we go to those sorts of rides. And then we did Seven Dwarfs. And then we were just kind of walking around and just kind of looking at everything, taking it all in. And we saw the Little Mermaid ride. And it wasn't, I knew about it, but it wasn't on my radar of like, hey, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, well, we're not really hungry for lunch yet. And I think I placed a mobile order at Casey's. And, but it was going to be like 30 minutes or, 45 minutes. And I'm like, well, here's a ride. Let's just go on it. We don't have anything else to do. And it was so cute. It was
so cute.
Adorable. Yeah. So we did that and really liked it. My daughter, has always loved Little Mermaid, but she absolutely loves the new Little Mermaid. Like, that's hands down her favorite. So she wanted to go on the Little Mermaid ride, and she was really happy about that. But we did that, and then we walked over to Casey's for lunch and just kind of sat there and enjoyed just for a little bit. It was so crowded, and people were having a hard time finding tables. So we really did try to eat quick. And then we kind of stayed there for like 3 to 5 minutes. And then I saw a family, this poor family, frantically looking. Like the mom and dad looked completely worn out. And you could tell the kids were not having it. Yeah. And so we were like, hey, take our table. So we gave them our table. And then we walked over to Space Mountain. And I think I had a virtual queue for that one. But when we got off, the line wasn't very long. And so we were like, oh, let's just do it again. So we were able to go on that twice.
Nice.
And yeah, it was great. And then I had never tried the People Mover, but I've heard people just talk about how they like to grab a coffee and go on there. So we actually just grabbed, I think, a water and went on the People Mover. And it was just So nice. Oh, and our weather, the weather the entire week was perfect.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I think there was one time it rained, and it was while we were having dinner in a restaurant. And by the time we walked out, it was done and the sun was shining again.
That's perfect.
Yeah. We could not have had better weather.
That's
it wasn't
fantastic.
too hot. It wasn't too cold. It was, it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we did do Thunder Mountain. We ended up doing that twice. And I think we ended up doing that twice because the poo ride had broken out. So they gave us like a virtual queue, or what do you call that? Anytime?
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's like the anytime pass that you can go, and you can use it on select rides.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the one that we were like, oh, let's just go again on Thunder Mountain. So we did that. We did Seven Dwarfs again. And then it was time for us to get in line at Tron. And so Tron was the longest that we waited. We waited 90 minutes.
Did y'all just do the virtual queue for Tron, or did you do the paid Lightning Lane?
We did the paid.
Okay. And the line was still that long?
It was crazy long. And they didn't, I don't know if, like, they just didn't think it was, because it wasn't hot weather, like it was warm, right?
Mm-hmm.
But standing on that pavement outside, because the line was so long, standing out on that pavement, they didn't have the umbrellas. Like, they have those umbrellas that they put up every so often.
Right.
Well, they were all closed.
Huh.
It was hot. It was really, really hot. But, so yeah, we did wait 90 minutes for that. I'm not sure why it was that long.
I wonder if the line had I wonder if the ride had broke down and it kind of just stacked up.
It might have. It might have. But it was a fun ride. I agree with everyone I've heard say it is way too short.
Yeah.
Way too short, but it's one of those rides where you can't help but just giggle the whole way through because it's just so fun.
It's so fun.
So we did that, and then honestly, like with Magic Kingdom, that was kind of all the rides that we had wanted to do. We had knocked them all out, some of them a few times. And so we just kind of shopped. We went to all of the shops and just kind of browsed and bought more pins, an excessive amount of pins. And we just kind of looked around and really appreciated things that when you're on the go, you don't typically stop and appreciate. So we did that. And really, we wouldn't have normally just kind of taken our time. Normally, we would have went ahead and park hopped. We would have gone somewhere else, but we had the seats and suites. And so we knew we had to stay. But I'm glad we did, because it really did allow us to slow down and appreciate everything around us and see things that we probably would have missed. And then we came out of one store and we were like, well, what is going on? Because like you could see that there had been like a parade or a cavalcade or whatever. Well, we stepped out and we literally were walking in line with the cast members at the end of the little parade thing.
Oh, fun.
And it was Mary Poppins and Bert at the very end.
Aww.
I was in heaven because, I just love Mary Poppins. And so to see them, they were so cute. They were so cute. And so we literally were like, we don't have anything better to do. Let's follow the parade.
Yeah.
We're just going to follow it and just watch for as long until they went backstage. So we did. And we just had so much fun videoing them, even though it was from the back. It was adorable.
That's so fun.
So we did that. And then we walked around a little bit, and then we got into the seats and suites. And you pay extra for that, and it was great. I'm glad we did it. It's probably not something I will do again for a while. The food was amazing. It was so good, and they serve you champagne, and all of these desserts, as if you haven't had enough sugar throughout the day.
Yeah.
They just load you up, and we had a really great table overlooking. But the one thing that I would say is if you book it, you don't have a really clear visual of the castle. because there's trees, there's everything else. And so we couldn't really see a lot of the stuff that was projected onto the castle. You can see it up high, right? But down below, you couldn't really see much. And that was fine for us, but I'm just thinking anyone with little kids.
Yeah, this is a really kind of deceiving dessert party because there's 3 fireworks dessert parties, and this was the most expensive one because you get a dedicated seat for the fireworks. But, yeah, you can't really see the front of the castle so much. So it is, yeah, it can be disappointing for some people. But then again, some people are like, well, I'd rather sit and watch and eat my dessert, and I don't really care because I've seen it before,
Right. And that's the thing, like, we really appreciated where we were sitting. It was great. We had a table right by the railing, so you were right by the water, and it was beautiful. We got the cutest picture of us clinking our champagne glasses with the castle in the background, and so that was fun. And then at the end, Tink didn't fly.
Oh, no.
We don't know why. I know, I was like, oh my goodness. The one thing that I wanted out of the Seats and Sweets was like, because she would fly right overhead. And I was like, that's going to be amazing. But she didn't fly.
There must have been lightning in the area.
Yeah, and I read someone had said that if the wind is too much too, or if Tink does not feel safe, like if she just feels like something's off, they don't make them fly.
Yeah, it has to be like perfect weather conditions for her to fly.
Yeah. So she didn't fly, but I still cried at the fireworks show.
Yes.
And the songs, I mean, it's just...
Oh, yeah.
You can't not. So, I'm a weeper anyway, so, yeah. But we did that, and then after that, we just we made our way out. We did stop at a few more stores just to kind of peruse and really kind of take a little bit of time because everyone, it's just, it's kind of a madhouse. It's like herding cattle, right? To leave Disney. And so we were like, we don't have small kids. Let everybody else go home. And then we can just go. So we dipped into a few shops and then, and then got back to our hotel room. I can't remember what time we got back. It wasn't too horribly late, but, and then we just kind of settled in and chilled for a little bit before going to bed.
How was waiting for the bus to get back to your resort? Was it crazy?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I had it where, like, there was, in a past trip, we were at Animal Kingdom, and we waited an hour and a half for a bus.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, it ended up, and the crowd was getting really bad, and there were handicapped people that were stuck out in the rain. This was 2 years ago. And they were getting drenched because people weren't letting them inside. So I called Pop and told him, I'm like, we need a bus here. It's been an hour and a half. And there's, and so they apologized and they were sending, a bus over. But like there was some sort of shift change and it just kind of got, I don't know. I don't know why the lapse, and they didn't really know. They never really explained. They apologized profusely and got a bus over. So I was a little afraid of that, of what the bus situation would be. But it just seemed like we always unknowingly timed it well to where either a bus was just pulling up or we got in at the very tail of it. So we were lucky.
Hey, it's Jenny just popping on real quick. Make sure to stay up to date with all things Disney news, all things Disney, Universal, cruising related by following me on Instagram at Disney Travel Tales. You can also find me on Facebook at Disney Travel Tales as well. If this episode is making you want to plan a Disney vacation, then I would love to help you. All of my services are completely free to my clients, so there really is no reason not to use a travel agent. Most people don't realize that when you go and book your own Disney vacation, you are already paying that travel agent fee. So why not take advantage of that and get all of those services that you're already going to be paying for? I would love to help you plan your next trip, so make sure to check the show notes for information on how to get in contact with me, my quote form, my email, and yeah, let's make 2024 the year you go to Disney.
But that night, we got in like right at the middle, and It was perfect.
That's great. Because sometimes those Magic Kingdom buses can be a nightmare.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we did have to stand, but I don't mind that.
Yeah.
That doesn't
as long as you're on the
at
bus,
all.
right?
Exactly. And for us, it's like the people with kids and grandparents, I'd rather them sit. I can stand. That's not a problem. So, and then we got back to the hotel and just chilled. But the bus was great.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for y'all.
Yeah, I know. I've had it where it wasn't great, and then I've had it where so when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
And then when it's bad, it's not so great.
For sure. All right. So your next day, what did y'all do?
That was Tuesday, and we went to Epcot. And hands down, Epcot is our favorite. We could go to Epcot the whole time and be happy. So we knew we wouldn't park hop that day, even though I did have park hopper tickets. I just knew Epcot was not going to be a park we would leave and go somewhere else. In fact, Epcot's one that we actually park hop for when we go to other parks. So,
right.
But we woke up this morning. It was weird because we'd never seen a line for the Skyliner, and this line was insanely long. And we were just like, well, maybe they broke down or whatever. And it only took 15 minutes to get on. So it wasn't bad. It looked worse than it really was. But our first lightning lane or virtual queue, I interchanged those. So I'm sure you can decipher which one I mean. But it wasn't until like 10. So it wasn't like we were in a really big hurry because we were still really early, that morning. And so we were just like, oh, who cares? We'll just wait in line. We're at Disney. We do not care. But like I said, it was only 15 minutes. And so I actually did pirates. My outfit was pirates. I have the cutest little pirate ears. And then Lauryn was Alice in Wonderland.
Cute.
But it kind of interchanged with Belle too, with the blue and white outfit. So when she met Alice didn't even recognize that it was like her, but Belle immediately was like, "Oh my gosh, you look like me."
That's so funny.
Yeah, and Lauren's like, "Okay, well, I was Alice, but I'll be Belle. I'll be Belle too." But so the first ride we did was Soarin'. And it was fine. I know a lot of people like the California Soarin'. We really like the World one. Even though, the Eiffel Tower is a little wonky if you sit in the wrong place, we still really prefer the smells and the sights of that one. So it was the California one. And after that, Lauryn was like, okay, I don't need to do Soarin' again. Like, until the other one comes back, I'm good with Soarin'.
Yeah.
Like, we've done it. And then we met Alice in the England Pavilion, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
And so we did that, and her and Lauryn had a cute little interaction. And then we did go to a few of the shops and just kind of planned out what we think we want to buy. I knew coming into this trip that I wanted to buy either a Dior or Guerlain perfume. So that comes later, but I knew that was something at Epcot that I really wanted. That, and I wanted a ring. So anyways, we went to Guardians, and we had a 10 o'clock reservation for Guardians, which is one of our favorite rides.
It's so good.
So, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yeah. It's just such a fun ride. I'm not a Guardians fan. I'll watch it, but I don't. If you ask me what it's about, I just know it's like people saving the world, I think, and that's really what I know. So my son just gets so exasperated with me when we talk about it because he's all about all of that Star Wars Guardians. He loves it, and Mom knows nothing when it comes to anything like that. But the ride is amazing.
It's amazing.
It is. And then after that, we went back into the Friends Pavilion, and we met Belle. And so Lauryn wanted her picture with Belle. Belle's my favorite princess.
Mm-hmm.
So we got pictures with her, and she was so good. All of the characters, and I'm not really a character meet and greet person.
Mm-hmm.
Lauryn is starting to be. So she really wanted to knock quite a few off of her list. And so I just kind of went along for the ride and
mm-hmm.
had fun doing it. But Belle was so good. So good. She was just really talented. And I'm such an introvert, and I am not good with improv.
Uh-huh.
So the way that they can stay in character is amazing to me. It's very, very talented, the way that you can ask them a question, or they can ask things and have talking points that I would be like, I would be looking blankly at someone.
Yeah, and it's impressive that they can hold a conversation with you and make sure that you don't feel awkward.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I was really impressed. I was very, very impressed. So we did that, and then we did Ratatouille. And it's funny, I had watched the movie once when the kids were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really interested in the movie. It just didn't capture my attention. And then 2 years ago, when we went on the Ratatouille ride, I loved it so much that night, when we got back to the hotel, I was like, I need to watch that movie because this ride is adorable.
Uh-huh.
And so we put on the movie, and it's quickly become like one of my favorite movies now. And, I guess when you're in different seasons of life, some things catch you and some things don't. And this season of life, Ratatouille has really, really caught me. So we rode Ratatouille. We rode it several times in the past, but this time some of the scents weren't working.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little bit of a bummer, but it redeemed itself later on when we went again. But we did Ratatouille. And the one thing, I wish they'd bring more Ratatouille souvenirs.
Yes, I agree. There's like nothing.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just from the ride, I have like 10 different ideas of things you could do.
Yeah.
Like, anything. And I got so excited when we went into the shop and I saw the Anyone Can Cook cookbook. I'm like, I'm getting that. I love to cook. I love to have a movie night and do, we had a Little Mermaid movie night. And so we did shrimp, and we did, all of these things
mm-hmm.
Little Mermaid stuff. I like to match stuff up like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, we could do a Ratatouille night and I could cook. And then I opened up the book and it was just a journal.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, y'all could really do a cute recipe book, for Ratatouille. And there were some other things we were like, oh, we're so disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really cute if they did a few other little things. But so we did that. And then we wandered, we love walking around Epcot and going into all the different countries and just kind of exploring. And I will say, it's so funny, Morocco is just an amazing place to walk around.
It's so beautiful. And nobody goes back there.
I know. Yeah. We were totally alone. And we were just like, why is this not more crowded?
Mm-hmm.
It's so gorgeous. And so we ended up taking a ton of pictures in Morocco and we've done that every time we've gone to Epcot. We've just ended up spending a lot of time in Morocco just walking around and taking pictures, and no one's there.
Yeah.
It's just empty. And there is a really good drink in Morocco. It's a fig drink. And I forget what it's called, but it's really good.
I'm going to have to remember that.
Yeah, it's a really, really good cocktail. So we did that, and then we worked our way to, I'm probably going to not pronounce this correctly, Tutto Italia restaurant?
I think that's right.
In
yeah.
Italy?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We just walked up, and they were just opening, and they got us right in.
Nice.
So I know, and I usually I do a lot of reservations because I want at least one nice meal a day. But we were really hungry. Oh, and I should mention, we really don't do breakfast in the parks. We're not big breakfast people unless we usually do like protein shakes, or I make like these egg bites with a lot of protein, stuff like that in the mornings, and then we go. So we actually, with our food order from Instacart, we ordered breakfast stuff there. And, but we are lunch and dinner people. And so I wanted at least one nice reservation a day. Like Disney or Magic Kingdom, it was the Seats and Sweets, which I know was not a meal, but it really could have been. I mean, the meats and cheeses and fruits and, and then you had all the desserts. Like, I knew we would be eating there, but then we had a dinner reservation for, what was it? Chefs de France at night. So we weren't really looking to go to a nice sit-down restaurant for lunch, but we were there and it sounded really good. And because, who doesn't want pasta?
Right.
So we went in there and it was like a hidden gem. It was a restaurant that I probably would have never looked twice at, except for we had stopped there to like talk or discuss something. And we looked up and it was I don't know if it's popular or not. I honestly, I haven't heard much about it.
So I've heard it's really good, but it's not like a sought after reservation. So sometimes like with clients, if they're wanting like Via Napoli, but that's booked, I will recommend it. And then they go there and they love it. So it is, I've only heard great things about it, but it's not like a sought after reservation.
I don't know why it isn't.
Yeah, I know.
It was so good. It was so, and our waitress, I forget her name, but our waitress was amazing. And we ended up talking because we asked her, where she was from. And I love talking to the cast members.
Yes.
Just to kind of see where they're from and what their experience is, And she ended up getting on my phone. She took my phone and she like Googled where she was from and was like, okay, when you go, because I told her my husband and I were planning a trip. She was like, you need to go here. You need to go see this beach. You need to go do this. And it was so fun to like see her love of her hometown and get recommendations, right, from a local who was raised there. And we ended up getting the Under Tuscan Sun wine flight. It was so good.
That sounds amazing.
It was really, really good. And then we split the risotto, and it's risotto fungi e gamberi. I know I'm butchering that. But it was really, really good. And then they give you this bread that's really good. And so that's why we didn't get an appetizer. They brought out the bread, and we were just like, yeah, we don't need an appetizer. The risotto was amazing. And I'm kind of a risotto snob because you can really ruin risotto. And it was so good. It was so good. And then we barely ever turned down the tiramisu. So we got that for dessert.
That sounds amazing.
It was a win. It was a restaurant where we're like, yeah, we'll go back. I don't know why it's not more popular.
Yeah, I think it's just because over in that pavilion, Via Napoli is like the one everyone wants to go to, everyone thinks about, and they kind of forget about it.
Yeah, it was amazing. So we did that, and then we went on the Frozen ride, and we had never been on that one. And it was so cute.
I love that ride. Cute.
Yeah, it was adorable. We really, really liked that ride. And then we stopped. We went to, there's an art gallery in America. And we went to that and we stopped at a kiosk. I forget what we got, but we did get something that we were like, this might ruin dinner. But at the time, we didn't care. We were hungry. And so we ended up getting something from America of all places. And we were just like, that's so dumb. What are we doing? But it was good. I remember it being good. Not great. It was good, but I don't even remember what it was. So it wasn't that great, but it filled us up.
Yeah.
And then we ended up doing Remy's again, because why not? And while we were over there, because we were getting ready for our reservation, so we were making our way back over there. So we did Remy's again, and then we went to the Les Halls Boulangerie
Mm-hmm.
Patisserie. And we've been there before, and everything we get from them is just so good.
Delicious.
Yeah, I mean, looking back and like looking at my notes, we really did. We ruined our reservation for dinner because we just kept eating. But we got the raspberry macaroon,
Yum.
and then we got this chocolate filled donut. And then we just kind of shopped and walked around. And this was the time where it was time for our reservation, and that's when it started raining. So we got into the restaurant, we had a window seat, and then all of a sudden it was pouring.
Perfect
And
timing.
so it was. We were like, we could not have planned that better.
Uh-huh.
All we ended up getting, I think we got escargot, I think, and then a creme brulee. No dinner. That's what we had. And yeah, then we went. I think we got out of there at like 9:30,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around there, and headed back on the Skyliner. It was a full day.
That was a very full day. So let's go back to Chefs de France. I know y'all didn't get a lot of food, but did you like what you got, and like, was the service good?
Service was great. Food was amazing. In fact, it was so good, we wanted to go back and actually have the dinner.
Uh-huh.
So we went back at the later on in the week.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And had dinner there. Yeah, it was really good. And I love how you can be sat next to a window,
Mm-hmm.
which the second time we went back, we were sat somewhere else. And it was fine. I will not complain about where we were sat. It wasn't as nice as like the little window seat. So if you can get that would be great. But we didn't have a reservation when we went back, and so we were happy just to get in.
Yeah.
Like, it was a 30-minute wait, and we were good. But both times servers were amazing. They were friendly. The food was brought out really quickly.
Nice.
And creme brulee is another one that, it can kind of get messed up.
Oh, yeah.
A little. It was so good. It was really good. And escargot, we love escargot, so that was really good. I think probably the best escargot we got was at Topolino's, but this one was a really close second. It was good.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our second park day.
Did y'all have a line to get on the Skyliner when y'all left, or?
No, it was like 5 minutes.
That's great.
Like I said, I don't know what it was about this trip, but it seemed like our plans just kind of matched up with holes in transportation.
That's
where we just
best.
kind of, got on, aside from the 15-minute wait, which you're at Disney, 15 minutes is nothing.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not
not
going
at
to
all.
complain about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing. I usually go in thinking if a ride is 45 minutes, I'm not complaining at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can amuse myself for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Because that's really not that. And usually the waits aren't as, I notice at Disney World, the waits are usually not as long as the time posted unless something breaks down or something happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've noticed that too. Yeah. And like, I know that when we were waiting in line for the Skyliner to go to Epcot, you could hear people like mumbling and complaining, and some of them were like, we're just going to get on the bus, we're just going to and then go to another park, or Disney Springs. Like, you could hear people kind of rumbling around because I don't think they realized it was not that long of a wait.
Mm-mm. And the Skyliner never stops moving. And so that's something they also have to keep in mind, unless that they're loading something where they have to stop. For the most part, it just keeps going. So it's going to be a smooth process.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't bad at all. Like I said, I don't mind. My daughter, we've always called her Snow White because kids and animals love her.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of the time, anytime we're in line, there's little kids, and she ends up playing little kids.
Yeah.
Like playing with them, like peekaboo or hide and seek, or she'll, strike up conversations. And they just love her. And that was one thing I was going to say. We had actually made a bunch of friendship bracelets just to give out to like little kids.
That's fun.
And so she just loved like being able to ask their parents, hey, you know, can I give your daughter, you know, this? And the little kids like would go and give her hugs. And of course that makes Lauryn's day.
Yeah.
Because she just loves kids. So yeah, we just kind of spent our time really just kind of talking to other people and meeting people. To me, that's part of the fun of Disney.
I agree. I love talking to people at Disney.
Yeah, and I'm such an introvert. I will not do that in my hometown.
Yeah.
I just, you know, but it's like I go to Disney and I become a totally different person.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just way too introverted to do it normally. But at Disney, it's just different.
It is different. It really is.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time doing that and just kind of talking to people and asking if it was their first time or where they're from. And of course, Lauryn would just get down with the kids and, you know, it just seems natural, right? Just to do that. So it was a lot of fun.
That's great.
Time.
I love
We
that.
ended up on the Skyliner, we met a couple who was from Massachusetts and we talked with them. They were in our same little Skyliner pod. I don't know what they call those, but I'll just say pod. And we ended up running into them throughout the week in parks. Great. And so we were just like, hey, you know, how's your trip? And so they kind of fill us in a little bit, and it was just fun getting to see people that we had met.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
So, yeah, that was the end of day 2.
All right. Well, let's just move on to your next day. What did y'all do?
The next day was a rest day. So we did two parks, and then we rested, and then we did 2 parks after that. So it was Wednesday. It was October 25th. We got up early because I was determined to go to Gideon's. And I had already made my mind up that I didn't care if I had to spend an obscene amount of money. I was going to get like the most cookies I could. And our plan was to like break them off in 4s, right? And then we would like save half and take it home with us. So, and that kind of went to plan, but kind of not. So we did stand in line at Gideon's. Oh, I did forget about this. Because it wasn't a park day. But we got there early, and it was already an hour-long line. And Lauryn, at first, she was like, they are just cookies. Like, why are we standing in line for this? And I was like, girl, we are standing in line. We did not come all this way. This was one of my things of a must-do. And they have that scent coming out. You know, they do that on purpose. They have to.
Oh, yeah,
it's like
for
that
sure.
Cookie smell. That once you smell it, when you're in line, you're not getting out of line. You're going to stay because it smells so good. And Lauryn was like, but are they that good for an hour? You know? And I was like, you can go do whatever you want to do, but I'm not leaving this line. So then it started sprinkling. She's like, Mom, like, are you serious? And she was like, it's the first of the morning. You know, we're going to get drenched. We didn't bring umbrellas or rain jackets with us because it hadn't rained, and we just, you know, when we left, the sky was beautiful, all of that. And I told her, I don't care. I will look like a drowned rat for the rest of the day, but I will have these cookies.
Yep.
And so we stood in line, and then it just started pouring. And I mean pouring. And so we just put our bags over our heads, and we rocked it. She was a trooper. We rocked it, and we got in, and as soon as we got in, she was like, okay, this is the coolest place ever. But she was like, I don't even need the cookies. This place is amazing. And it's one of those places where you don't even know where to look first because there's so much going on. So we thoroughly enjoyed the line experience because it was so cool. And we ended up getting, I want to say we got 7 or 9 cookies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I had been told by someone that there was like a limit of 7 or I don't remember what the limit was.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we went up there, I had ordered, and the guy's like, no, you can order whatever you want.
Nice.
And so I was like, okay, that probably should have never been said to me. So we ended up getting, I want to say it was around 9 cookies. It might have been 10. It was a lot. Just because, like I said, we don't go very often. You know, maybe once a year if we're lucky. I'm just going to, and I knew my husband would not complain about that. So we got those, and then we did a little shopping. I got my husband, we have Harley motorcycles. He loves Harleys. And so they have that Harley store there. So that's kind of like the only souvenir he really wants is like a Harley shirt. So I got him that, and then we did a little bit more shopping. And we went into, is it the World of Disney? Is that the name of the store? Okay. We went into there, and they had just put out, and they were still putting out these sweatsuits. They were the cutest sweatsuits I've ever seen. And so my daughter got one, and I think hers is red. It's like a wine color. And she got the pants and the hoodie. And then I ended up getting a brown one, and it's like an old Mickey on it, which I love, the old Mickey. And the cast member had said that they literally had just got those in the night before.
Nice.
And put them out. And so we grabbed those, and they're so thick that it literally feels like you're wrapped in a hug. Like, you know, when you're like cozy on the couch, you usually want a blanket.
Yeah.
You do not need a blanket with these. Like, they're so cozy. It feels kind of like, remember, what do they call this? Snuggly or?
Oh, yeah, Snuggies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It kind of, they no way look like that, obviously, the sweatsuit, but they feel like that.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, and it was like, gosh, if you wore this and like had to sleep somewhere, like at an airport, or like you'd be so comfortable. It was just, so we got those, even though they were so bulky, we were really questioning how we were going to get them home. But we made it happen. My daughter ended up wearing hers because she couldn't fit anymore into her suitcase. And, but yeah, they were really, really cute. I'm hoping that that's something that they keep having. Because I would like to go have another one. I'd like to buy another one. My husband just laughs every time I wear it. But I don't care. It's so cute.
There you go.
Yeah, so we did that, and then we had lunch at Polite Pig. And it was the first time we had gone there. We had heard amazing things about it, and it was delicious. It was absolutely delicious. And so we sat, and we did after we had ate, we had Brussels sprouts, which were amazing. We love Brussels sprouts anyways. Theirs were really, really good. And then we did have a spiked pink lemonade drink, which was so tasty. And then we each got a sandwich. So we did that, and then we were like, well, we've got these Gideon's cookies. We have to at least just like try a couple of them. And we both tried and just looked at each other and were like, yeah, this is dangerous. It was dangerous. And so we were like, we have to be disciplined. We cannot eat all of these. So we put them back, and like we tried the, like there was a triple chocolate, there was a coffee cake. There was one that they had for October. It was like a Halloween one. So we tried 3, but we like cut them in 4ths, and then we each tried just a 4th, right? Well, by the end of 3 of those little things, we were like, we can't eat anymore.
Yeah, because they're huge.
Ginormous.
Yeah.
And they weigh so much a piece. Like, that was the one thing. I'm glad that we went early in the morning because, you know, nothing was sold out, right? But carrying that bag shopping, yeah, that was a workout. It was heavy. So I ended up buying the 100-year Disney, the book, the coffee table book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had the 50-year one that I had purchased before, and then I wanted the 100-year. So we bought that. We bought more pins. My daughter bought some other stuff. I can't remember what else she bought. Um, and I kept looking for like the perfect coffee mug, but I just couldn't settle on one.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get anything. And then we went back to the resort and we got changed and we were going to do a monorail crawl. So we went over to the Contemporary. That's where we went. I think, how did we get there? I'm trying to think how we got there. I think can you skyline to Epcot and then, like, no, you can't do that. I can't remember.
No, you'd have to walk through the park. So y'all could either have taken a bus to Magic Kingdom and walked to.
That's what we did.
Contemporary, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's what we did. We took the bus to Magic Kingdom and then we got on the monorail, right? And so we went to the Contemporary and then we went to the Steakhouse 71 bar. And we just had some wine and we had some appetizers, like we had shrimp cocktail and I think we might have had a couple other things. And we weren't very smart. We should have planned it a little bit better. We ended up having like 2 glasses of wine. Well, that's pretty much our limit.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, we're not going to give up. Like, we're still going to go to the other resorts. So we ended up talking. We met a couple from Texas, and we ended up talking to them for quite a while. And then we went down to the Contemporary, the gift shop there, and Lauryn was so excited because she had been searching everywhere for a pin that had the new Ariel. And she couldn't find it. She couldn't find them anywhere. And so we went to the Contemporary gift shop, and they had 2 left.
Nice.
And she was so excited, and the cast member was like, "Yeah, you're lucky because this is the last of them. We're not putting them out anymore. We're not going to sell them." And Lauryn was like, "Why? Why would you do that? This just came out." And like Lauryn bought, I'll have to send you a picture of it, this Ariel dress that is stunning. Like Lauryn is so fully invested. So she's just very, very into the new Little Mermaid. She loves it. But we did that, and then we went to the Polynesian and walked around and kind of went into their gift shops. And I just kind of wanted to get a feel of the place for future, stays. And then we went to the Grand Floridian. And the doors opened up, and I was like, "Oh my word, this is where I need to be."
It was so beautiful.
Oh my goodness, so stunning! And they had like this inlaid, the GF, inlaid in the floor, and I was just like, oh yeah. So I took pictures of like just details because it's so pretty. And we went into is it called the Basin shop?
Yeah, the Basin.
Okay. So we went into that, and I had heard about the lip balms, and I am kind of a lip balm junkie. So I didn't have high expectations, like that they would be great, right? But I was like, they're Disney, so I'm going to buy them. We ended up getting a 6-pack, and Lauryn got 3 and I got 3. And they're actually some of my favorites.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if you have like really chapped lips, no, don't use them. They're not going to help you out there. Use something else. But for just a daily or, as you're getting your makeup on, I usually, you do that. Or if you're on a hike or, I have them everywhere. They're just a good one to put on and your lips feel moisturized. So that's my little spiel of the Disney lip balms. I will get more when I go because they're just cute and they really are good. So they're not slippery, like they're not slick. They kind of hug your lips, and that's the kind I always look for, is something that's not going to come off in 5 minutes.
Yes.
But they're not sticky either.
That's good, because I hate sticky lip balm.
Me too. And they're just adorable, and they feel good on the lips. So
nice.
Yeah. So that's that. So we did that, and then after the Grand Floridian and after the drinks, we were like, yeah, we're ready for that. We were tired. So we actually got back off. I think, what did we do? Yeah, I think we got back off at Magic Kingdom and then took our bus back to Pop. So that was the end of our free day. So, and I think we got back around 8:45, 9 o'clock.
That was a full day.
We go hard.
Yeah, no, that's so fun. I love it.
Yeah. So both her and I will just, we will trash ourselves.
Yeah.
To have full days, and then we will come home and the next day just sleep all day.
Yeah, just recover.
Exactly.
That's the way to do it. And I always tell people, go visit other resorts. It is one of my favorite things to do is to walk around and visit different resorts.
Yeah. And it's the first time that I've ever really been able to, because it's just been Lauryn and I. So we don't have, a large group that everybody else wants to do something else or whatever. And she just kind of was along for the ride. She was like, okay, you're offering me wine and food. I'm coming.
Right.
So, so we did that. And like I said, we just relaxed in the room. We'll either watch, we did a lot of Disney Plus watching. We just had our iPads, and I don't know if you can get it on the TV. I don't even think we've really ever tried to log into our thing on the TV. We've just watched our iPads. But I think we actually watched Ratatouille that night.
Nice. That's fun.
But yeah, I checked in with my husband, made sure everything was good at home, and then we went to sleep.
What a fun day.
It was a good time.
Yay. So your next day, what did y'all do?
Next day was Hollywood Studios, and we did park hop on this day back to Epcot, but Lauryn went as Tinkerbell. She had the cutest little outfit for Tinkerbell, and then I went as Rapunzel. And like you said, I don't even know that somebody on Main Street would look at us and say, oh, she's Tinkerbell. You know what I mean? But we just do the colors, and sometimes we'll have ears, but sometimes it's the backpack or whatever. So we don't go hardcore, but we just like giving a little nod.
I love that. I think that's great.
So we did that, and we went on Rock and Roller Coaster. That was our first ride. And we've been on Rock and Roller Coaster several times, but this time we got in, and in Rock and Roller Coaster, when you go in part of the queue, when you get into the building, they have like these not billboards, but what do you call those? Like the movie poster type boards? Right, and they were using both of our names on them.
Oh, that's fun.
It was so fun. And at first we were like, wow, that's weird. I wonder if that's just like this fluke thing. And then we were like, no, that is not a fluke thing. Because Lauryn spells her name differently, and it was the same way, and so and it happened to us twice at 2 different times when we went on Rock and Roller Coaster. It just chose our names to be on the billboards.
That's awesome.
So that was kind of fun. We love that ride. That's a great ride. And then my daughter's favorite ride, or one of her favorite rides at Hollywood Studios is Tower of Terror. I love roller coasters. I love fast rides. I'm not afraid to go really on anything. But Tower of Terror, it's like the only ride that I legitimately get a little anxious about. And I think it's because they keep you up there.
Yeah.
And if I'm constantly moving, I'm good. But when you are like making me wait and I don't know when it's coming. And so I make myself go on it every single time. I never sit out because I won't let my fear win. So I make myself go, and I love it. I do love it. But I get a little anxious on that ride.
Yeah.
So of course she wanted to go twice because the line was, really, really short. It was basically a walk-on.
Nice.
Both times. And so we did that, and I told her, I'm like, okay, we've done it twice now. Like, let's go do something else. And so we did have a lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance. Yeah, I think we did. I think we paid for that, which we love that ride. We didn't do what's the other one there?
Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, we didn't do Smuggler's Run. We've been on that before, but I always feel so guilty because it always seems like I either get the pilot or something that's like more important. And I am not a good pilot. And so I feel like I'm ruining it for everyone else. And so whenever we've gone on, I've always been like, oh, I can be something else. Like, don't put me in an important part of the ride because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But Lauryn she was like, that ride's okay. The queue's cool. Like, the whole thought process behind it is really cool. But Rise for us is the clear winner as far as what we like. So we did that, and one of the cast members really took to Lauryn and gave her the hardest time.
Nice.
And Lauryn is, like I said, she'll be 24 next month, but she's itty bitty. Like, there's nothing to her. She's just little. And he would just stare her down. Well, Lauryn, when she gets uncomfortable or whatever, she just starts giggling. Like, she can't stop and she gets really red. Well, that just made him egg her on even more, and he was just really going after her. And so she was beet red. By the time the ride started, she was so mortified and embarrassed.
That's
in a
so
good
funny.
way.
Yeah.
She thought it was funny, but she was just like, oh my gosh, I can't look at him with a straight face. I can't, So it was pretty funny.
That's
but we
funny.
went on that, loved it. And then I drug her on Star Tours. She does not see why I love it so much, but for me, that's my childhood. I mean, that was a huge ride when it first came out at Disneyland, and we'd go so many times on that ride because it was cutting edge.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And I do get why she doesn't like it because, it's kind of jerky now. It didn't seem that jerky when I was a kid, but it's a little jerky, but I made her go on it twice. It was kind of my payback for Tower of Terror.
There you go.
And it was a walk-on, so she's like, all right, we'll do it. So we did that, and then we went on Rock and Roller Coaster again. And then we went on Tower of Terror again because she loves that ride. And then we had reservations at Brown Derby for lunch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We like Brown Derby. We've been there before, and so it's one of those that I feel is worth the reservation and worth the time to sit down and actually enjoy a meal. So we had escargot, and then I had the chicken and dumplings, and she wasn't feeling that, so she got the halibut, I think is what she got.
Yeah.
And both the chicken and dumplings won out. They were definitely better than the halibut, but the halibut was really good. But the chicken and dumplings, wow.
That sounds so good right now. Oh.
It was so good. And then we had creme brulee again because why not?
Yeah.
So, and it was good as well. I mean, Brown Derby, I don't know that you can go wrong at Brown Derby. And then we both had just a glass of wine. And Brown Derby was kind of later in the afternoon. And so we did kind of walk around a little bit, waited until 1, and then caught the bus back we caught the Skyliner and went to Epcot.
Nice.
So we got there like 2:00 whenever you could park hop. And we did Ratatouille again, which by then the scents were back and it was,
Nice. I hate when the scents aren't working.
I know. And like when we first rode Ratatouille and Soarin', I hadn't been on a ride that had scents. And I'm talking like a couple trips ago, and I'm like, it's my new favorite.
Yeah.
I love that experience. So it was, it had been a little disappointing when Ratatouille didn't have all the scents, but it did this time. So it redeemed itself. Yay. And it's just so cute.
It is.
We did do Soarin' again, just because I told her, I'm like, listen, we're here. It's no wait. Like, let's just go do it again.
Uh-huh.
So we did that, and then we went to the France Pavilion and got my perfume. I was going to buy the new Dior perfume, which is called Lior or something like that, L''OR.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to get that one, but the sales staff was really busy. The store was really busy, and so I was like, well, I'll just pop into Guerlain and see what they have. And they had so many scents to choose from. So we were smelling all of them, and I picked one up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the one I want. So I actually ended up going on Dior.com, buying that one, having it shipped to my house.
Oh, nice.
And then because I really wanted, that was a perfume I wanted regardless of where I was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just a good perfume. So I did buy that one while I was in Guerlain. But I bought one, it's called Neurolia Vetner, I think. I'm butchering that, I know. But it's just a really clean scent.
Uh-huh.
But we had missed their engraver by like a day.
Oh, man.
And so she was like, well, if you don't mind not taking it with you, we can have them do it. He's coming back, I think it was like the next day or the next week.
Mm-hmm.
We can have them do it, and then we can ship it to you. And so I had no problem with that.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and then you pick your design. So I picked a tiara with some stars and then just my initial.
That's really cool. I love that option.
Yeah, and the bottles of the perfume I got, the bottles are refillable.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, and so you just buy the refill, and that way you get to keep your engraved, bottle.
That's really
engraved
cool.
bottle. So yeah, I've used quite a bit of it already. It smells so good, and just the little tiara with the stars is so cute.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a great souvenir because it's something you use in your everyday life. And every time I see, the little tiara, it's just adorable. So, but it's so subtle, right?
Right.
That you don't, it doesn't stand out, but it's just a really, really good souvenir. And now it just reminds me of Disney, every time I spray it.
I think that's really special. That's so cool.
Yeah, I love that. So we did that. We bought more pins. A lot more pins. And then we went to Germany. There's a shop that has jewelry and some like sculptures and stuff like that. They have a lot of Swarovski crystal things in Germany, and I found it's a silver ring, and it has little Swarovski crystal Mickey Mouses.
Oh, cute.
All the way around it. And so if you were to see it, like on my hand, if I'm just talking, you wouldn't even know it was a Disney. Like it's so subtle. But yeah, so the ring, if you look at it, and you're not really paying attention, you don't really realize that it's a little Mickey's. But then once you see it, it's just so cute. So yeah, I got that, and I definitely, when it comes to souvenirs, I try to pick. I go on the more expensive side, and I don't get as much, right?
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that because I wear the ring all the time. I wear the perfume all the time. My sweatsuit, which you wouldn't think that costs a lot, but it's Disney, so
it does.
Yeah, I wear that all the time. So I try to find things. I say all that, but we bought pins, and I have not done anything with them yet, but I have plans on that. So, but I try to find things that I will use on a daily basis that I can incorporate into my life.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're still subtle, but it just kind of keeps a little part of Disney.
No, I love that. And that's actually smart because sometimes people, and everyone's different, but if you buy like super Disney stuff, once you get home, you might be like, I don't really need this.
Right.
What am I going to do with this? So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, I love coffee table books. And so my Disney coffee table books, I love. It's something that interests me. I actually look through them and read them. And then I have the Disney parks. I have one. I think there's multiple, but I have the cookbooks.
Mm-hmm.
I love cookbooks. I'm kind of old fashioned that way. I like leafing through a cookbook, and
Same.
But that's something that I use. I can incorporate that into my daily life. So that's kind of how I go about my souvenirs, and that's also why, like, when we stay at Pop, it's for me, the money I'm saving, I can put it more towards the expensive perfume and the expensive ring, and just all of that stuff. So, and then after that, my husband called and he said, "Hey, I just got done talking to Dad. You might want to call him again because it's looking like it'll be soon."
Mm-hmm.
And so I called my dad, and I'll never forget where we were in Epcot. Like, we were at the Connections place. We were right there, and I was able to talk to my dad for the last time. So that was something that it was like so bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't really talk all that much, but he was able to, tell me he loved me. I was able to tell him that I loved him, and, just what a great dad he was. And I had already told him this before.
Mm-hmm.
My family's very expressive and loving when it comes to stuff like that, but it just kind of made it a little bit easier.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Maybe it was the distractions were good. We didn't know how much longer he had, but and he couldn't talk very long. It was maybe a 90-second conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I go to Epcot, I know exactly where I was standing.
Yeah, that's really special.
It is, and I can't decipher in my mind if that's weird or if that's normal. I don't know. But it was special to me.
Yeah, all that matters is what it means to you. It doesn't matter what it means to anybody else.
Yeah. So it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I was so thankful to have that last phone call with him.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then we had dinner. Again, we walked over to Chef's de France, and was like, "Hey, what's your wait?" And I think it was like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I can't remember, but it wasn't very long. We were like, "Oh, we can do that. That's not a problem." And so they got us seated, and we ended up having the French onion soup.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was so good.
Yeah, it sounds so good.
It was really good. And then Lauryn had the ratatouille, and I had I'm going to butcher this again, I'm just going to say beef bourguignon.
Oh, yeah, I think that's right.
Like beef bourguignon. I'm not good with accents, so.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. And both were delicious. They were absolutely delicious. The French onion soup was so good. The ratatouille was amazing. And it was all just delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really well done and well plated. That's another thing that I really look for at restaurants is how well they plate the food. Because it's part of that experience.
Yep.
And so after that, we were pretty tired, and so I think we got back to the room around 8:30. I think so. It was a full day, but it was a little bit earlier than we had been. So, and we took obviously the Skyliner back and met some people, on the little Skyliner pod that we were on. Just kind of talked with them until we got off, but yeah, it was a good full day.
That's so fun. And it's funny too, sometimes at the end of the trip, you start petering out earlier.
Yeah.
Especially when you've already been to the parks and you're like there for the second time, you're like, I can go back now. I'm good.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. We did everything that we wanted to do, and we were just like, okay, let's just go back and relax, because we knew we had a really busy day the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, okay, let's just, 8:30 is good.
Right.
We'll get to the room at 8:30. So yeah, that was that day.
Well, that's so fun. So is your next day your last park day?
It is.
All right. So where did y'all go?
Well, here's the thing about the last park day. I don't know how to get that cloud of depression off of you because it's like you just know.
Yeah.
You know that there's not another day, and it's so depressing.
Mm-hmm.
But we went to Animal Kingdom, and honestly, Animal Kingdom is a park that we would skip if it weren't for the Avatar land. I mean, Expedition Everest is amazing. We really like that ride, but Flight of Passage is that's just incredible. Yes. It's actually my daughter's most favorite ride at Disney World.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's kind of tied with rides. And that's how those two are tied for me as well. So I knew that we had to go to Animal Kingdom just for that ride. But I am glad that we went because we did have a few new experiences too. So we walked in and we had a paid lightning lane for Flight of Passage already. But we wanted to hit up Expedition Everest first. Mm-hmm. There was no line, and we went on it 4 times in a row.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we literally just walked on. We just kept going back, and 4 times. We could have gone more, but we were like, okay, seriously, like, we need to get on with our day. It was 4 times.
That's awesome.
It was pretty amazing. We were so giddy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's a great ride. And then we decided our Flight of Passage wasn't until a certain time. And I forget what time, but we were like, let's just go over there and explore that land, like that area, because it's so pretty. Mm-hmm. And when we went over there, Flight of Passage was a 10-minute wait.
What?
I know. We were shocked. We were like, oh, we're getting in line. We are getting in line.
Crazy.
So it was insane. And so we got in line, and it was right at 10 minutes.
Wow.
And so we got off, and then it was time. We were like 5 minutes early for our lightning lane, so we just did it again. We just went and did it twice in a row. Mm-hmm. So we did that, and then Lauryn, after the ride, she was like, I have to get some Avatar souvenirs. She was like, that's my goal. And that had been her goal all week when we got to Animal Kingdom. Mm-hmm. So we went, she ended up buying the ears, like the little, I don't know what they're called, but it's like a headband.
Yeah.
But it has like the little, and then she got the lounge fly. She drew the line at the tail. She was like, that would be weird if I got the tail. I'm like, because it's not weird that you're wearing ears. But, okay.
So
you draw the line at the tail.
I love it.
We own a factory, and she, on a dare, she wore that outfit. Like, the ears, the backpack, everything. She wore it to work one day.
Nice.
She was so proud. She was so, so proud of that look. So, yeah, she's human resources and marketing director.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, anyway, we got that, and she posed for some pictures. She wanted pictures with her ears and her lounge fly. So we went around that land and did that, and then we rode Navi River for the first time. And I've heard a lot of people kind of, like, boo on Navi River, but I just thought it was so pretty. And I can understand if the line's really long, not wanting to wait for it. I get that. But it was maybe a 25-minute wait.
I mean, was the park like so empty? This is crazy.
It was not very full. And so it was nice.
Yeah.
And just all the colors. Like that's one thing. Lauryn and I are always looking at the details and the colors and what they're able to imagine up and then produce, right? And make it to where it just seems magical. Mm-hmm. So we really liked it. I don't know that I would ride it again. Absolutely. Would I wait an hour or more? Probably not. About 30, 45 minutes, I probably would.
Yeah, I think the problem is people wait, because sometimes I've seen it like 120 minutes and they're waiting, and then they're just like, I can't believe I just waited, and that's what the ride was.
And I can totally get that.
Yeah.
I can understand and appreciate that. But it was just, that whole land is so well done.
It's beautiful.
It does make me a little sad that the park closes so early, and I understand why it does. But boy, that land would be gorgeous at night.
I know, and so I'm guessing the only time you can see it at night is probably like in the winter when, no, the park closes so early. But because there's pictures of it at night, so I don't know how people get to go at night.
I have been wondering if it was just me missing something. Like, am I missing how you can actually see it at night? Because if anything, that area was made for night viewing.
I do know that they have a DVC, like Moonlight Madness party there. So maybe that's when people are getting to see it at night and taking, because I've seen pictures of it at night, which means people are there, but I've never witnessed it at night because the park closes before it gets dark, no matter if it's in the winter or not.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one thing that we were like, wow, that would be something to see.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then Lauryn wanted to ride Dinosaur, which I have strong opinions on Dinosaur. It's so jerky, and it's so, I don't like it.
Yeah. So dark.
But I ride it. I ride it. It just cracks me up that Indiana Jones in Disneyland is so smooth, even though, yes, it has its jerks, right, when it's supposed to. But it seems like Dinosaur, it's just jerky, period. Like, but we rode Dinosaur, and this poor little girl who was in back of us, she didn't want to go on the ride. And I think it was her grandparents maybe that made her go on the ride. And I mean, it was blood-curdling screams the entire time. I don't blame the poor girl. I mean, there's sometimes, number one, it's just jerking me around. But then number two, there's times that it scares me and I know what's coming.
Yeah.
For
sure. And the strobe lights and it's just so dark. Sometimes you can't see what's coming, and that's probably what scared her too, is just not knowing.
Absolutely. So, but I did it because, like I said, it's one of those things where I'm not going to tell myself, no, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Tap it up and I'm going to do it. So, we did that. Then we went to Yak and Yeti, and I could not get reservations for Yak and Yeti. Mm-hmm. I tried and tried, could not get reservations. So we walked up and I thought, hey, maybe they'll have room. They didn't, which was fine. Mm-hmm. So we went to the walk-up window there, and we just ordered egg rolls and some chicken fried rice, and then we had the sweet and sour tempura shrimp. Mm-hmm. And so we just split all of that. And it was more than enough food. And it was really good. So that was a win in our book.
Nice.
I would like to try the sit-down restaurant. Mm-hmm. I've heard the tuna nachos?
Yeah, the ahi tuna nachos.
Yeah, I've heard those are amazing, so I would like to try them at some point. Yeah. But for a really quick meal, the Yak and Yeti walk-up was really, really good and worth the money.
Nice.
I mean, in Disney money.
Right.
It's relative. But, and then we shopped a little more. Morkins. Oh, my goodness. We went overboard. And then we saw Kevin, which is just so cute.
Yes, I love Kevin.
Yeah. And then we saw Divine, which that kind of stopped us for about 10 minutes because just the grace and it's like a ballerina, right?
Oh, yeah.
The way that she just dances, and it's just gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
And so we weren't in a rush. We couldn't park hop until 2. So we just kind of enjoyed ourselves and just watched her and everything else. And then we made our way out and we park hopped to Magic Kingdom.
Nice.
Yeah. And so Magic Kingdom, we had one objective. And my daughter, so I have from when I was a child in the 80s, I have a charm bracelet from Disney that I got at Disneyland. You know, back in the 80s. And it's got, I mean, it has Dumbo, Tinkerbell, you know, all of the, like, the Fab Five. It's got all of, you know, those. And my daughter has always asked if she could play with it, or, you know, when she was younger, and always wanted that charm bracelet. I would never give it to her because that's mine.
Yeah.
You know, she'll get it later when I pass, but she's not getting it now. So she wanted one of her own. And we had been on the lookout all week for charm bracelets. We had gone to Disney Springs. Pandora had their version of a charm bracelet, but she didn't really care for that one. She wanted more of a traditional charm bracelet. We had hit up all of the stores that had jewelry, like in Epcot, and she was just about ready to give up, with the exception of there's this one store that she loves in Magic Kingdom called Crystal Arts.
Oh, yeah.
And it's where she had bought her ring the year previous, her Mickey ring, which is her Mickey ring is so cute. And she wears it daily. But she wanted to try there for one last attempt. And so we decided to park hop over to Magic Kingdom. And we went in there, and she found a charm bracelet.
Aww.
And she cried. Like, she was that excited.
That's
this was
awesome.
like her one big thing that she wanted out of this trip. And so it already had like a Mickey built into it, right? At the clasp, but then you had to buy charms. It was not cheap. You know, it was real silver, you know, so she was so she got 3 charms to start off with. She got Cinderella's carriage, and then she got Tinkerbell, and then she got Belle's rose.
That's so cool.
And so now she's just going to collect the charms every time we go, you know, if she can find them.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
For anyone that is interested in charm bracelets, they are not readily available at all. You really have to search. I mean, we went into every store that we really thought would have, even like a cheap one, right? Disney cheap, at some of the bigger Disney stores, and they didn't have anything.
That's kind of surprising because charm bracelets are just so timeless.
That's what I thought too. Well, then just a few weeks ago, she was like, I really, you know, when we go on our next trip, I really want to see what charms are available. That way I kind of can plan what I want to buy. And so I started Googling, and I saw, like, in the 90s, they had charm bracelets, and with so many different charms. You could actually buy them off Poshmark, which I told her, I'm like, you need to do.
Oh, wow, like, yeah.
You need to do that. And if she doesn't, I probably will, and then gift it to her, because the charms are just amazing. And there were so many back in the 90s that came out. So I don't know if maybe they just kind of, like, you know how Disney does that? They kind of take it away, and they wait.
They put it in the vault.
Yes, exactly. But she, after she found that, she was like, my trip is made. That's it. That's all she wanted.
I love it.
So, yeah, we did that, and then we just did a little bit more, you know, just shopping and whatever. Just kind of looked around, tootled around until it was time to go back to our room. We had Topolino's dinner reservation.
Nice.
Yes, and so we went back to the room, and this was our one night that we dressed up. You know, dressed up, and she wore her Ariel dress, and So we went and then we took the Skyliner over. We'd never been to Topolino's before, but we had heard really good things.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not disappoint.
I've always wanted to have dinner there.
It's so good. It's fabulous.
I bet.
It's when Lauryn was like, this is now a staple.
Uh-huh.
We can't not go, which we keep filling up these staple restaurants, like these must-dos. We're not going to have time to try anything new.
Right.
So, and she was like, well, we can lengthen the trip. And I'm just, of course we can, because Mom's paying for it. So, anyway, we went to Topolino's, and we had the escargot, which was fantastic. We both got a white wine, but I think we got different. I think she got a Moscato, and it was a recommendation from our waitress, and I can't remember what it was, but it was fantastic. It was so good. We got their Brussels sprouts, which were perfect. And then we got rigatoni, which, I just keep saying it was perfect. Like, the whole meal was so good. Their bread is amazing. And it's shaped like, the best way I can describe it is like an olive branch, like with little leaves. And that's like the bread shape. It's so
cool.
Good. Yeah, it was really, really yummy. And then we got creme brulee, because it had like these little, like miniature, like macaroon, but they weren't macaroons. I don't know what it was, but they were so good. And it had it like scattered around.
Uh-huh.
It was, the creme brulee there was different enough to be its own experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can have creme brulee, and if it's done well, it's really, really delicious. Mm-hmm. And this one was that plus some.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really good. So we just kind of had a leisurely dinner. We like to dine. We like to just take our time and dine. And it was our last night, so the last thing we wanted to do was go back to the room and pack, because that means that you're in for a rude awakening the next day when you go back to real life. So we took our time and finished our wine. I think we might have had 2 glasses. And then, we had to go back to the room and pack up. We both got really sad.
It is so hard to leave.
It is. And it's funny, like when you get to the Disney resort, when you're just starting out and you just get there, you're so excited and you're like, I'm here. And you look at these people that are checking out and you're like, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
Like, I am here and this is going to be great. And then when you're the person that's checking out and you're seeing the people come in, it's like the worst disappointment.
Yeah.
It's horrible because your time is done and you know that they're in for such a great time and you're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's definitely sad, but the best thing is when you know that you're coming back and like you're already thinking about when.
Yep. Planning that next trip, it really helps the Disney blues.
It does. It does. And so we started talking about it, when and how long we wanted to go out, as far as what we wanted to space our trips.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started kind of talking about it. And then, of course, like a month ago, we started seriously like, okay, when should we go?
Mm-hmm.
And this year's it's too crazy to go back, even though I might try to sneak in a really, really small trip when I go back to visit family in California. Like, I might just do a 1 day just to get a little bit of a fill. But we're already looking forward to our next trip.
That's so exciting.
Yes.
So what was your travel day home like?
It was I think we got picked up at the hotel at 6:45. So it was an early travel day.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and forth of if that's a good thing or if it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that our next trip, I might try to plan it later, even though I know I'll pay for it when it gets later and I have to still drive home.
Mm-hmm.
But we had an early trip, and it was pretty, wasn't uneventful, but we went back to Atlanta. We didn't have any problems in Atlanta, but that is actually, we were waiting for our next plane, and I got the phone call that my dad passed away. So, that kind of put a damper on everything. But luckily we only had one more plane ride, right? So I just had to get through that, and then I could get home and figure out next steps for all of that. But other than that, I don't mean that lightly. It sounds light, but I don't mean it that way. Other than that, it was uneventful. It was, just we were tired and a little snippy, let's be honest. When we get Disney, you are tired and you are depressed.
Yeah.
You're going home. So both of us needed to do a little attitude adjustment. So we quickly corrected that. Of course, that was at the Atlanta airport. I think it just brings out the worst in us.
Oh my gosh. We had to stop in that airport coming home from France, and that's the worst airport I've ever been in my life.
Right?
So bad. I was like, I never want to come here again.
Yes. Oh, I told my husband, I'm like, I don't care how far out of the way we have to go. I'm not going there.
Awful.
It's horrible. It is so horrible.
Yes.
So, it was fine. And then we got back home around, I want to say it was around noon. And our airport's only about 40 minutes away, so 40 minutes away. So we got home around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and literally just fell asleep. We both just crashed. But yeah, it was a great trip.
That's so awesome. One of my new favorite ways to come home from Disney is to take the latest flight home. So we spend the whole day at the park, and then I think because we have nonstop flights to Austin, I think it leaves at 9:30 at night, and we get home at midnight. But you're almost so tired from being at the park all day that you don't even care that you're leaving. You're like, I'm so tired. I just want to go. It's like right. Better than having to wake up and be like, I have to leave.
Right. I think we might try that this next trip.
It really works. I've done it twice, and it really works.
I think it would. Because leaving at that, number one, when you are up and out at 6:45 in the morning, that was not a good morning.
Yeah. No.
Unless you're going to a park.
Yes.
That is the only way it's ever a really good morning.
Yep.
And, I think we might try that because you just want at least a little bit of that magic before you go home.
Yep. It just works. So, I don't know. It kind of helps. It helps leaving. It makes it easier to leave.
Right. Yeah. I definitely think we'll try it. I know we talked about it because this last time, it's been hard to leave before, right? Prior times. But this last time, man, that was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. But, so it was a great time. It was such a memorable experience. So
it sounds amazing. So I am going to ask you what I ask everyone. What was your least magical moment of your trip?
Besides the obvious, right?
Right.
Atlanta, my dad, Tinkerbell not flying. Those were the three, right?
Yeah.
It was. If we were talking just Disney, it'd be Tink not flying.
Yeah.
So because we didn't get to see that. I would like to see it. I've seen it before, but I would like to see it again at some point. Like I said before, I don't know that I will get the seats and suites the next time we go. I think I want to do another type of fireworks show. I know they have one, I think it's up at the top of the Contemporary, right?
So they do have one up there. That is it's very limited. It's twice a month.
Yeah, I tried getting it this trip and could not. Every single time it said that it wasn't available.
Yeah, because I tried to get it for our January trip, and it was only going to be 2 Mondays that we weren't going to be there. And so I was like,
Oh, wow.
But I've done the pre-fireworks party twice. And I really like that, even though the next time I go, I'm going to do the post party. So because you get a reserved spot in the hub to watch the fireworks, and it is a fantastic spot, a fantastic view, and only people who are at those parties get to stand there. And so this next time I'm going to do the after fireworks dessert party. So you get to go stand in this spot, I think like an hour before the fireworks start. Anytime. I think they open it an hour before, but you can go in kind of whenever. And then you have to have a wristband to get in to show that you're a party member. And then you go eat the desserts after the fireworks.
Okay. Yeah, we might look into that then.
Mm-hmm. I love that, mostly because I loved that reserved spot, and it is such a great view of the castle. I mean, you are literally looking directly at the castle, and because you're in a reserved spot, there's no like pushing. I don't know. It's just such a better fireworks watching experience.
Right. We might do that. I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be fun.
So what was your most magical moment?
Oh, goodness. That's really, really difficult. I mean, I want to say Topolino's.
Yeah.
Topolino's was just a really big highlight.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a special dinner, right? Because it's not every night that you just go out and actually dine at a restaurant that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the food was incredible. The service was incredible. So, yeah, I would probably say Topolino's, even though I feel like I could name 5 other ones that are right up there.
Right.
But it just being like the last meal of the trip made it special.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Gina, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story. Is there anything else you wanted to say about your trip?
No, I think we've covered everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap on today's show. As always, thanks for listening. Make sure to visit us on Instagram at Disney Travel Tales. If you're wanting to support the show, the best and easiest way to do that is to leave a 5-star positive review on Apple Podcasts. It's so easy and means the world to me. Can't wait to be back next week with you. So until then, this is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams come true. Hi, this is Jenny, just popping on with some exciting news. I've started a Facebook group just for you. I'm really excited about this because not only will this be a great opportunity to get to know each other, but this is also a safe space to talk all things Disney. Members can share travel tips, resort tips, likes and dislikes, and the best part is this will give you an opportunity to talk to the guest on the show and ask them questions about their trips. I was trying to think of a fun name for us, and Disney Travel Tales Podcast Clubhouse came to mind. This is a private group, and of course, I will not allow anyone to be bullied or talked down to. I just want this space to be positive and fun. Check the show notes for a link to join, or just search Disney Travel Tales Podcast Clubhouse in Facebook. I can't wait to see you over there.